I'm Rachel,
And I'm Josh.
and welcome to the very first episode of Pinpointe Unfiltered. We might change that name in the future, but that's what we got right
Fluid.
now.
That name is fluid. It's
It's
ever
fluid.
changing.
But the point is, this is what we're going to tell you what your broker never told you.
And get cut through the BS and get to the nitty gritty of what real New York is about and the best way of going about your real estate searches.
Yeah. So we're the co-founders of Pinpointe Group, a boutique real estate brokerage in Manhattan. Well, we do all of the city, but our office is in Manhattan.
How long have we been open now, Rach?
3.5, no, 2.5 years. We're about to hit your 3-year anniversary in June, I think. Yeah,
We're
man,
getting there.
congrats.
We're getting there.
It's been a slog, but we're doing it.
Yeah, and I guess this podcast is is being born more out of necessity, I guess, on my end, so we could get to the people. I'm a bit more old fashioned where, from old New York, you do business person to person, handshake means a lot, and taking care of your community was a thing. So when I'm out with, our clients, I try to bring them into our community and I try to give them the realness of New York City real estate. And I think that's what kind of like on my end, I don't know, like you let the people know, but I think that's kind of what brought, our relationship like
Hmm.
together was like, hey, you're a newbie, I gotcha. I'm gonna take you under the wing and I'm gonna give you some realness because it's better than, wasting your time. And I just feel, look, the quicker we could get to where you need to go, the more you'll love me.
Yeah. I think also the biggest thing that I know I found, and I know you have found too, is in this industry, there's a lot of bullshit and there's a lot of misinformation, right? And people just trying to make a buck. And I think that's why brokers get such a bad rap that I think they truly deserve, because they treat people like deals, like dollar signs, like transactions. And, that's not what we're about. And that's part of why we started the firm, right? Is to treat people like people, um, and to be who we are. The thing is, and I think what makes me very uncomfortable with this podcast and being on video is I don't like to be on. I like to just be real. And I know you do too. And that's the thing that people really like about us. And that, that's what everybody tells us is people just want to see us being us. And that's part of why we are doing this podcast, right? So that we can just shoot the shit, but also, shoot the shit by telling people how it is, right? What brokers aren't telling everyday renters, buyers, whatever it is, and just really tell it like it is.
Yeah, I have to let the people know I come with a warning label. Um, you never
So
know
I
what
think
you're gonna hear.
we
You
both have to come
never
with
know
that
what you're
warning
gonna
label.
hear.
Warning. Please do not get offended.
But yeah, and some people can handle it, some people can't, and I still love the people that can't handle it, and I would
Yeah.
still give them the same advice. Come a couple of years later or months later, it happens where you tell a client, what you know the market is, and what's best for their like situation, and they want to fight you along the way, and then you come around and follow up, and they like, oh yeah, you were right. Thank you so much for helping me because the advice that you gave me, even though I didn't want to hear it, allowed me to get to my dream, or at least my, maybe not dreams, I'm not giving out dreams, but my goal. You know what I mean? Like, listen, it's New York. Our rent is high.
Hmm.
We got someplace to go. Hurry up and get to the point is
Yeah.
kind of like our motto a bit. But once you stop us, we're gonna give you. I'm gonna treat you like you're my sister. I'm gonna treat you like you're my cousin.
Yeah.
Because that's the
That's the
energy
thing,
that
though.
I like giving off.
Yeah. That's the whole point, right? How we treat clients in person is kind of like how we're gonna be in this podcast, right? Like, we tell people how it is, even if it hurts, even if it's shit they don't want to hear, right? You know, if a client really likes an apartment that is $1,000 over budget, right? And they're gonna ask, well, can we put it in an offer? Josh, of course you're gonna say, yeah, you could put it in an offer, but if you really want this apartment, you won't, right? That's not what they want to hear. They want to hear, yes, you can put it in an offer and you can get it $1,000 cheaper. And
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
a lot of brokers do say that though, like, which is really fucked up.
And
So go ahead.
I wanted to get to, I guess, something that I probably like a lot of people have been talking about, this whole no broker fee. What is it, Rach? The Fair Act?
Yeah, well, we have a future podcast completely dedicated to that topic, but that's a whole other thing, where the narrative of the proponents of the law is very misguided.
Yeah. But
Uh,
like you said, for a future podcast,
yes, we won't
is
give away those juicy details now,
what's on
but
the
just know that
agenda?
there's two sides to every story, and at the end of the day, math is math, and yeah. So let's keep it going with this podcast. In future, like we said, we're going to talk about broker fees, other nitty gritty things about the industry, specific to New York and what it's like to work with a broker. Things, other things that brokers haven't told you about, applying for apartments or things like that. So this episode, we're going to tell you more about us, right? We've already kind of just started being us. Josh, why don't you tell the people, how you got into real estate and what brought you here?
I just thought about that joke I told you earlier.
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was
I dare you.
no, not yet. It's too soon for the people. It's too
Episode
soon.
two. Episode two.
It's too soon. No, I went back to school later in life, and in order to pay for school, I was looking for random jobs that worked with like scheduling and like you know enough money just to like pay for class and like get by. And I found real estate and it answered a Craigslist ad, like
Craigslist. Remember
when
that?
that was like a real thing. Um, and I want to say my first deal within like the first couple weeks, I made like $1,500. I was basically an assistant, not even like fully licensed, like kind of just like open housing for stuff.
Hmm.
And 15 minutes, one client, over $1,500. I did the
It's
math.
attractive. It's
Like you
attractive.
said, do the math. And I was like, you know what? Law school might not really, really be worth it in the end. Probably my mom wanted to kill me when I told her that.
Mm.
Hindsight, like now, many, many years later, I have my own like co-founder of this company. I've met like some really, really great people, some of the most important people in my life, like in my adult life. Um, I've met through real estate, you being one of them. Um, so yeah, it kind of just found me, and it really was just I think I was meant to like do stuff like this. I was meant to be a hustler, and the real estate agent is one of the
Uh,
ultimate
Original
hustlers,
hustlers.
especially in New York City. It's forever changing, which is I think why I think I've been so attracted to it, and like it's never boring. It hurts sometimes. Many days I probably wanted to cry, but I won't cry. Um, but the same way it's that painful, it's rewarding, and there's nothing like I tell people all the time. There's nothing like making a deal. It's one of the best
Yeah,
feelings. So yeah, I'll keep it
that's
going.
great. How long have you been doing this?
Total now, a little bit over 10 years. Um, like we said earlier, Pinpointe, we're approaching our third year anniversary. But yeah, over a little bit over 10 years, a little off, not off and on, but I've taken a break for a year to reassess life, and
Hmm.
came back like, yeah, this is what I have to do. And then we decided to open up Pinpointe, so it's a lot. 10 years, probably like you've got to add like dog years to that. Feels like 40. Like I don't know.
Yeah, it takes a lot out of you. But your story is like somewhat similar to mine, but somewhat not. So, I'm a high school dropout, who then ended up getting a master's degree. Oh, which is insane. So, guys, if you don't like high school, it's cool. It's not for everybody. You can still make your way. Look, I'm a co-founder of a company. It don't matter. Um, I'm originally from Miami, so I first got into real estate by being an operations manager of a startup brokerage in Miami. Probably like 12 years ago now. So I learned the ins and outs of how to run a, a startup brokerage, right? It was just me, the broker, and like a bookkeeper. Until we hired some more agents and whatever. So that's how I got into the industry itself. I fell in love with real estate, but I didn't keep it going for a long time. So I got out of that, and I've just been in different types of jobs, in and out of, school, bachelor's, master's, whatever it was, um, until I moved up to New York. I want to say, 8.5 years ago, almost. No, yeah, dang, it's been a long time. And so I came up here for grad school. Shout out to John Jay. Yeah. Uh, what else? Yeah, so, every New Yorker finds themselves in the real estate world, whether they want to be or not. You become a renter and you low key become obsessed with everybody's rent and how much rent goes in this neighborhood and what's going on in that neighborhood and how much did this person pay. And
You gotta find who got
um,
the best deal.
that's right. And so I definitely became that person. But because I already had this interest and background in real estate, I took it a little bit further. So just my friends would come to me and ask for advice on how to get an apartment. I was like being a broker without being a broker. And I remember when I met you, I was trying to get my first studio apartment on my own. Now that was 7 years ago, 7.5. Yeah,
Yeah, about 7.5, almost 8 years ago. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so you were my broker. That's how we met. You got one of my favorite apartments. Um,
Hear that, people? I've been doing
yeah,
this for a minute, just
yeah.
getting everybody their favorite apartment, one happy person at a time.
Basically. And I mean, I told you when we first met, we became good friends. You need to own your own firm. You need to open your own shop and stop giving money away. What is it now? Almost 3 years ago, we kind of just did it together, right? So I got my license 4 or 5 years ago. Uh, yeah, here in New York. I also got my license last year in Georgia because, why not? Um, but yeah, that's how I got into it. I love it. I think out of all the things that I've done in all the different jobs that I've had, what I did in school, this is definitely my favorite thing. Not just because it's ours, but because, like you said, I love making deals. I love helping people. And Josh, I love to negotiate. Sometimes I negotiate too much. But the best thing about being a broker is that is your job is to negotiate. People always ask like, "Oh, why should I hire a broker, whether it's for rentals or sales? Like, why do I need somebody?" You need somebody to help you negotiate. You need somebody to help you with the ins and outs.
Yeah.
And
As much
that's
as, it's street easy and apps and like all this new, I love technology, but I hate essentially like New York City real estate. It's, who how you're going to get the best deal, and knowing the right person, whether it be a neighbor who just is like, hey, I have to sublet, or a broker
mm,
who's like, I have a client that has to sublet, is the difference between you getting a great apartment in a good location and
hmm
you having a crappy apartment that you can't wait to like leave after that first year lease is up. um I've seen people leave New York completely because they've had a bad apartment experience, and that's sad. That
hmm
sucks. And I guess part of like what I love about this is, I'm an ambassador to like New York, not only being a
yeah,
native, but
yeah.
being a person who travels through it all day and sees the ins and outs of it. Um, I have a good take on the pulse of New York, and I just want like other people to like understand it, because the more people that are here from different places that make it home, the better New York is overall, in my opinion.
Hell yeah.
But we could talk about that on another
Yeah,
episode
I
as
mean,
well.
one of the things that we do is we help a lot of people relocating from other countries. And we are basically their first touch points to New York City. And you know, it's one thing to move to New York from another state like me, right? I mean, I moved from Miami, so it's a big difference, but it's a little bit not too different, right? Like
Less
it's not like I
bikinis.
came, yeah, it's not like I came from like Omaha, right? Um, but no disrespect to Omaha. That's just the first thing that I thought of. But people coming from like London or Luxembourg or Barcelona, like they have this idea of what New York City is. And when you come here, it's very, very different. So, like you said, we're kind of like ambassadors of New York City to the people that we work with, right? We're trying to, and we don't want people to get disillusioned when they come here because finding an apartment is expensive. It's not as easy as just looking up on Street Easy, especially if you don't have credit and it's like if you're not from here, you don't have any credit. You like crazy like rental requirements that you won't know because nobody's going to tell you until you actually apply, spent your money on the application fee and got rejected because most brokers, that's their job, but they don't tell you this shit. So the first conversations, like I know that you have, like I have the same, like with these people that are coming here, I'm like, listen, it is extremely expensive. These are all of the negative things about it. This is, but it's what you need to know, right? Um, and if you have these illusions that you're going to have washer and dryer in unit, please throw that out the window. Like the good thing about people that are coming from Europe though is they're not necessarily used to having AC. So when I tell them like if you're not gonna have AC, they're like, okay, that's fine, right?
But the
But if I
washer and
tell them they're
dryer
not
is a problem. Wait,
washer and
what?
dryer because they're so used to having like the combo unit in the
Yeah.
kitchen, and I'm like, I get it. That's not a thing here. And I'm like, and even getting it in your building, right? Like depending on your budget, depending on your location, like you ain't getting that either. Um, but I always like to throw out like this is New York City, you can get your laundry delivered.
Nowadays, everything's delivered. There's an app for
But
everything.
but even before there was an app, right? Like even
Yeah,
like
the
even
neighborhood,
before
like
you could go to
neighborhood
the
laundromat.
laundromat in the corner and be like, here, like come pick up my stuff from a fifth floor walk up and then drop it off at the same fifth floor. You would be able to go grocery shopping. Now I wasn't here, like I wasn't living here those days, but I would come all the time to visit, and I had people that lived here, and I know that you've gone through this, going to the grocery store, doing your shopping, and then be like, all right, deliver it later.
Yeah,
Like that was a normal thing, right? Like you
you
would
just have
just
to walk
do your
faster
grocery
than the
shopping.
delivery guy.
Yeah,
That's it. Like on the
yeah.
slow days because I try to make sure you go to the supermarket when it's not super packed. I don't like waiting too long. I like want to be in and out. I hate
Mm-hmm.
shopping. It's my like
Ugh, the
least
worst.
favorite thing to do. So yeah, the key is just make sure you walk a little faster than what the delivery guy does, and it'll be perfect. By the time you get upstairs, like open the cabinets, you'll hear that doorbell, and it's like, oh, just shovel them in. But nowadays, with like cost of living so high, it's really like you just grab me like 3 bags and you can just go.
Ew, and apparently the cost of eggs is expensive. Yo,
My
you
lord,
saw did I send you the link of the bodega that's selling Lucy eggs for $1?
New York style. Yep, there. Everyone's a hustler. Everyone's a hustler, and I tell my clients like, hey, you know what, guys, you gotta hustle here to have the best experience. Um, and if you can't hustle here, you really can't survive in any environment. It's like this is black ops training, like Navy SEAL training for regular
Yeah.
people.
I mean, that's why I moved here, right? Like everybody's like, "Oh, why'd you move from Miami? It's so amazing." Well, my first answer is it's way too hot and I don't not like the heat. And my second answer is Miami is all flash, no cash. So everybody's out there, working as little as possible so they can go out and party harder than ever just to prove that they can because, they will buy a Maserati and live in the hood, right? And they will they will do everything to make themselves look like they've made it and they actually haven't. And when you go to New York, it's the complete opposite because it is so expensive. Everyone is here to hustle. No one's trying to put themselves on airs, right? Nobody's trying to look better than they are. We're all, in the summertime, we're all sweating on that subway together. It is nasty. Everybody's going through the same struggle. Um, even people that got lots of money, right? People that are doing really well in New York, they're still struggling with the same New York bullshit that we do.
Yeah.
And
They
and
still
that's,
get the same bacon, egg, and cheese.
yeah, like from the bodega on the corner with the bodega cat. But that's what I love about New York is that everybody here is just so real, right? And it's hard to make it here. And you and I very much embody that, right? We do keep it real. We tell it like it is. We don't bullshit anything. And I don't even have patience for people that bullshit, right? Because I grew up with that shit, and
I
it's
think I'm getting
so.
old. Like I'm starting to get more patience. I'm like,
Oh,
oh, it's okay.
I'm
Let's
I'm
like
so
God bless. But
crotchety.
it's like God bless their soul.
Yeah.
Like yes, like up to a degree. It's like I
Hmm.
want to help everyone, um, but there are certain things I kind of just like, hey, I toss it up to like, all right, you're gonna learn on your own,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I try not to. As much as I love making friends with all my clients, I try not to get emotionally attached to every single person that I meet because what do the kids say? Like a lot of these kids ghost me,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah, you
it's
have to
like
have thick
yes,
skin in this business.
it's like yeah, I want to be real, but a part of being real is also like hey, like I gave you the tools, you guys got to run with it or don't run with it, whatever. I'll still
Hmm.
love you for it, but
Yeah.
sometimes you get people that they don't like that, like and
Yeah, but isn't that like why we started this firm? Because I remember we were leaving the other firm that we were at, and we were thinking of, do we go to a big name and just start our own team, or do we start our own thing? Remember?
yeah, and oh man, I didn't
I
think
mean, it
that. I
was a
guess I'm
scary
like trying to put my
conversation. No
head
matter what,
there
it was a scary
where I'm
conversation.
like, there is no way then I would think that I would be here
Mm,
now. And that's on both ends of like, thinking scary, hey, just like don't do it, but also thinking, hey, that's exciting, do it.
hmm.
I still didn't think I would be here. And I think that's what I guess I'm so proud of. And how I feel like, yeah, it was the right decision to like not go to law school and like possibly have an easier life. I don't want to say
Hmm.
easier because that's like a little, disrespectful, but just a very different life and like different stresses. Um, where along the way, sometimes it's like, oh my God, why? And then when we get here, I'm like, oh, that's why. Because like, look, the growth, pushing the envelope, as many times as I felt uncomfortable as a human being, is a lot of it has to do with like trying to push myself in business and interact with other people.
Hmm.
Just other people in my industry, other like clients that come from other places that might test you a bit. Um, that is very fulfilling, I guess, for me, and what probably keeps me, energized and wanting to continue the journey of this suicide dive into
Yeah.
into real estate and trying to
Yeah.
like eventually I do want to be a big name. Like it's nice.
Yeah,
It's
but what
nice
I
being
like,
small, but the idea and the possibility of maybe eventually being big is kind of cool and fun.
for sure, what I like, is that people get us, right? When they come to work with an agent at Pinpointe, it's me, you, or Al, right? People are going to work directly with us. Even as we grow and we get more agents, it's still going to be a reflection on us, right? If we were to go to a bigger firm, we're just one of thousands, right? Um, and we would have to follow a very corporate structure, which is totally not who we are. And it wouldn't allow us to say some of the things that we say to our clients, right? We would have to sugarcoat, we would have to follow the rules. Um,
Well, whoa, whoa, whoa. We follow rules, people. We follow rules.
I didn't say break the law, relax, which we do not break the law. No, but like follow their corporate rules.
I got you.
is what I meant. Yeah, yeah. Um, like there's certain firms where you have to dress a certain way, right? And in the summertime, when you're previewing rentals or going from client to client to client, there's no way in hell I'm going to wear a suit. And my ass is wearing linen shorts and a button-down short sleeve shirt and a whole bunch of like what are those handkerchiefs to to mop the
To
sweat off
mop
my
the
face.
sweat. Yeah, summertime is, I call those 3 shirt days.
Yeah.
I call those 3 shirt days because it gets gross. And any agents out there, I suggest city bike as much as you
Yeah.
can. Spread out those appointments so you could like leisurely walk there.
Mm, that's
If
rough.
you're
I also
rushing to
I have a
get to a
neck fan.
client, it's gonna get really disgusting if you're running blocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, and nobody wants to smell you.
That's the other thing. That's
So
the
like
other.
carry deodorant, carry some like Axe or something. I don't know
There's
if
a
that's
reason why I
still a
have a
thing.
bag. As many people either make fun of my bag and compliment my bag. I'm like, well, I need a lot of stuff
Yeah,
to go about my day and not
for sure.
feel completely disgusting. Um,
That's for sure.
so, Rach, what do you think? What do you think about this podcast experience?
I mean, it's definitely been crazy. In like we're talking to each other, but also talking to an audience that isn't actually there, which is very weird.
Yeah,
I'm sure I've been fidgeting and moving around and this and that, and that's really weird. And I really don't want to watch myself, but I'm gonna have to. Um, but I think our conversation has been pretty cool. I think we'll get more comfortable. At least I'll get more comfortable with this, so that future episodes kind of flow maybe a little bit better. Um, well, maybe I'm just like in too much in my head, and I'm realizing that we
possibly.
chopped stuff up. Um,
But again,
I think we talked about everything that we wanted to talk about.
yes,
Um,
I think this was a good start. I think we're gonna have some fun. There's gonna hopefully we could like incorporate some guests. That would be nice at some point. That would be really
yeah,
cool.
let's just get this going first.
But I think this is the first of many where more people are going to get us. They're going to get good information. They're going to get real New York in a real time.
Yeah, I think I think our next podcast should be about the broker fee law because it's a really big thing. And then after that, we could probably talk about, and please, anybody that's watching, give us ideas of what you want us to talk about. But I think broker fee and then, the entire application process and the requirements that are needed. I don't even think that makes sense. The the requirements to get approved for a rental. And then future podcasts could be about like, buying in a co-op or the difference between buying and renting or things like that. Um, or any like relevant news that comes up that's related to New York City real estate that, we kind of dissect. Because I think we're going to do that for sure in the next episode with the broker fee law, is really dive in, dissect what it means and how it affects renters and brokers and landlords.
And at the end of every episode, I will be doing a DJ set. No, I'm joking about the DJ set.
I was like, oh, that's cool. What are we doing?
Just in case if this real estate stuff doesn't work out, you know what I mean? No.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Um,
Thank you, Rachel. Uh,
yeah, should we tell everybody where to find us?
sure, please.
So I think that's what people do on podcasts. So we just started our Instagram page at Pinpointe Group or Pinpointe underscore group. And that's Pinpointe with an E at the end because we're fancy. Uh, we're the pinky
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
We are on LinkedIn, Pinpointe Group, and I'm also on LinkedIn, Rachel Fiegler. You can find me. Um, yeah, Josh, what about you? Do you have
You can't
those
find me.
things?
You have to find me in the streets. I am the one that I'm real. I'm a real life boy. No, I am not the face of this beautiful duo. I just do the leg work and some of the heavy lifting. I reach the top shelf mostly.
So you're making me be the face? I don't want to do that either.
Find
So I don't want to
Rachel.
be out here.
Find
I don't
Rachel.
want to be out here.
She'll tell you how to find me. She'll be like,
Yeah. I got low jack on this guy.
yeah, like speaking of which, I gotta go, guys.
You got a client. You got a client. You got to go meet.
Yeah, I gotta go meet with a client. Hopefully, make this deal and find somebody a wonderful apartment. Um, until next time, thanks, Rach. Thanks, guys. Catch you later.
Thank you, everybody. Catch you on the next one.